Well, the 49ers have a problem and a big one in their secondary. Right now, there are a lot of guys on the COVID list. This is what it looks like. Jimmie Ward, K'Wan Williams, Dontae Johnson, Ambry Thomas, and Deommodore Lenoir. That is like the entire room, essentially. Not quite the entire room. There's still practice squad guys there. And Josh Norman's still sticking around. I mean, we can knock on wood right now. The way this is going, it looks like COVID is going through the actual room. So the latest addition to the list is Deommodore Lenoir. Ambry Thomas, I believe, was earlier today. Really lost track. The initial three were Ward, Williams, and Dontae Johnson on Monday, and then two more here recently with Thomas and Lenoir. So the only currently available cornerback on the 53-man roster for the 49ers is Josh Norman. Now, Emmanuel Moseley is not on the COVID list. He's been on injured reserve. Emmanuel Moseley is back at practice for the 49ers, and there is a very good chance that he'll be activated in time to play this game. So if that happens, and if he doesn't also end up on the COVID list, and if Josh Norman also doesn't end up on the COVID list, you'll have Norman and Moseley able to start against the Rams. Those are your two outside cornerbacks. The problem right now is that the 49ers nickelback situation is completely decimated. And we know that's extremely important against the Rams because Cooper Kupp is trying to break records, NFL records for the single season this weekend. Cooper Kupp lines up all over the field, but he also lines up a lot in the slot. Now the 49ers have a run of dominance over the Rams. They've won 5 straight games. Kyle Shanahan is 6-3 against them. And a big reason why the 49ers have owned this matchup as of late is because they've won defensively. And it hasn't mattered if Jared Goff has been the quarterback or if Matthew Stafford has been the quarterback for Sean McVay. The 49ers have matched up really well, and they've stifled the Rams. The key chess piece in that effort has been Jimmie Ward. And as you could see, Ward is currently one of the players on the COVID list for the 49ers. So you look at Ward, and a lot of people say, oh, this is a safety who doesn't have enough interceptions, even though he had 2 picks against the Rams in that Week 10 win. So it was obviously really important in that regard. But Ward does a whole lot more than that, and especially against the Rams, he's important from a matchup perspective because he has the ability to flex down from the nickelback, from the free safety spot, and essentially play as a nickelback. He can man up Cooper Kupp when Cooper Kupp is an inside wide receiver. Jimmie Ward could probably do it when Cooper Kupp is an outside wide receiver too. But the point is that he has been the 49ers Swiss Army knife, their kryptonite for Cooper Kupp, a receiver who's torn up so many other defenses. So the fact that Jimmie Ward's on the COVID list is the biggest problem for the 49ers right now. Now, is there a chance that he tests out of it? Of course there's a chance he tests out of it. He was put on the list Monday, so the guys that went on Monday, Ward, K'Wan, and Dontae Johnson, have the best chance of playing on Sunday. It's going to be really hard for Ambry Thomas and Deommodore Lenoir to make it back on Sunday. And it's just too bad, especially for Ambry, who was improving rapidly from week to week. He had his most aggressive and best game, his most aggressive and best play against the Houston Texans on what might have been really close to a pick 6, but he wasn't able to hold on to the pass from Davis Mills on Sunday. So, I think that everybody off the COVID list, assuming there had been a full week of practice for everybody for the 49ers, there would have been a chance that you saw Ambry Thomas on one side and Emmanuel Moseley on the other, because this is what I know about the 49ers cornerback room. If Emmanuel Moseley is available, he's a starter. And that's all that I know about the 49ers cornerback room. Everything else is speculation. They benched Josh Norman last week, but of course, Josh Norman has 6 or 7 forced fumbles. He leads the NFL, and the 49ers really value that aspect of his game. In fact, as a team, the 49ers lead the league with 22 forced fumbles. So although Norman has been a big contributor to the 49ers' rash of pass interference penalties, they do think he brings some veteran stability, and they love the fact that he does punch the ball out with regularity. So they benched him after a PI last week. They probably won't have a chance to bench him this week because there are no cornerbacks available. But, even if everybody were healthy, I'm not sure where the 49ers would stand with Josh Norman. I don't think Kyle Shanahan was completely sure either. I think they have quick hooks for these cornerbacks if everybody is available. I think Moseley's the one guy who they trust to kind of be out there longer. Jason Verrett obviously would have been the stalwart, but he's not available. So we can only speak in theoreticals right now because we don't know who's going to be available and who's not going to be available for this game against the Rams because of this lengthy COVID list situation. But I do think that on the outside, the 49ers currently prefer Ambry Thomas and Emmanuel Moseley, with Josh Norman being obviously a veteran who they wouldn't hesitate to put in the game, but would rather not because he's 34 years old, and the 49ers have given up 360 defensive pass interference yards, which probably is some kind of NFL record this year. They do trust Dontae Johnson, but they trust Dontae as a backup and as really a versatile piece to plug in anywhere. So that's why, K'Wan Williams is one of the better nickels in football. He's also on the COVID list right now. That's why losing Dontae Johnson and K'Wan and Jimmie Ward in one fell swoop to the COVID list on Monday was such a big deal. Because you lose K'Wan and you take a deep breath and you say, okay, it's fine because we could put Dontae Johnson in for some snaps at nickel and we could flex Jimmie Ward down from free safety to cover Cooper Kupp. We'll be fine. But Dontae Johnson also goes on the COVID list. So there goes that plan, right? And you take a deep breath and you're like, okay, fine. If we're the 49ers, we could still bring Jimmie Ward down. We'll be fine at that nickelback spot. We may have safety reinforcements with Tavon Wilson coming back this week. So maybe Jimmie Ward can be that flex player that gets it done for us. But then Jimmie Ward goes on the COVID list and you say, well, maybe it's not so fine. Maybe we are screwed, right? So that's where rush over coverage comes in. I wrote an entire piece on the 49ers pass rush earlier today. The Fighting Chris Kacereks, as I call them. The 49ers pass rush is playing its best football of the season. Since week 7, they have 31 sacks. That's number 3 in the NFL. They're getting contributions from more than just Nick Bosa. Arden Key is delivering. Jordan Willis is delivering. Sansom Ebukam is delivering. Even Charles Omenihu is delivering. And maybe Maurice Hurst comes back this week. The reason I'm listing these guys, the reason that I'm about to talk about the linebackers is because the 49ers are going to need their front 7 to carry the ship, to be the locomotive on Sunday, because they might get some of these players, some of these DBs that are listed below off of the COVID list and back on Sunday, but they're probably not going to get all of them. So the secondary is probably going to be compromised in some way. And let's be honest, the 49ers secondary already has been compromised this season, even when it's been at full health. So the coverage over rush, the rush over coverage, I said it the wrong way. The rush over coverage approach is going to have to bring home the bacon for the 49ers in this game. Now, this is where the linebacker situation is interesting because guess who had a big game for the 49ers against the Houston Texans? Marcel Harris. And Marcel Harris, as you remember, used to be a safety. Now he's comfortable at linebacker. He had 10 tackles. He had his first career interception. It all went well for Marcel Harris in that game against the Texans, except for the part where he fumbled the ball after the pick. But then that went well, too, because he got bailed out by the refs on the forward progress call. But Marcel Harris could be, if this continues tearing through the 49ers DB room and the 49ers need to shuffle guys and they need to bring some guys up in the practice squad. By the way, here are practice squad candidates. Have you heard of them? Levert Hill, Luke Barku, and Darquez Denard. Those are the practice squad candidates. So if the 49ers have to get deep into their roster for this, we won't know till Saturday. I'll talk about some of these guys in videos later this week. I'm probably going to write about some of these guys in videos later this week. But depending on how things go, the 49ers theoretically can flex Marcel Harris back into a safety position if they really need to, right? Even though, he's been working at linebacker now. They're probably they may get Dre Greenlaw back. That would really allow them to do that. And they can always rely on the fact that their linebackers are so good in coverage, right? You have the defensive line that's playing well. You have the linebackers that are covering well. Fred Warner is now playing his best football again. You have Harris. You're going to have to rely on that front 7. You're going to have to make sure that you bring the right blitzes and get the right pressure, that whoever's playing on the back end, if it's Luke Barku, spelled with a Q, if it's him, you better make sure you get to Matthew Stafford. And you also hope that Matthew Stafford remains sketchy efficiency-wise as he's been over the past few weeks. So right now, it's just too soon to tell what the hell is going to happen for this 49ers team. But we do know that these guys are all on the COVID list. They have a chance to test out under the new protocols and come back. The guys who went on Monday, who are the first 3 on that list, Ward, Williams, and Johnson, arguably the most important 3 players for the 49ers in terms of this matchup, they have the highest chance of being available. Everything else, we can't be too doomsday if we're tracking the 49ers right now, and we can't be too optimistic because we just don't know. So let's just play it down the middle. This is the truth right now. The only currently available 49ers cornerback is Josh Norman, but Emmanuel Moseley might return from IR, which would obviously be huge for this football team. And then these three guys, Lenoir being the Michigan State product with the most experience in the NFL. He's with the Bengals for 5 seasons. Those three guys are the practice squad candidates for the 49ers, but decisions will not need to be made until Saturday or something like that. So we just have to keep our eye on it. The 49ers are going to have to play a game against the Rams at least a little bit shorthanded. I think that's all we can venture out and say right now, because we don't know who's going to test out and who isn't. Is this ideal? Absolutely not. Is this potentially devastating? Yes. But is it devastating just yet? No. So I'm sorry that I can't give you guys a better, more definitive appraisal of the situation, but I'll go ahead and open this up to questions right now. Maybe the 49ers will get a timely peanut punch from Josh Norman. That might be necessary. You know what else might be necessary besides, a supercharged pass rush or good linebacker play or a peanut punch from Norman? If the secondary is indeed decimated by this come Sunday, the 49ers are going to be even heavier underdogs than they are now. They're going to need an extra boost from the other side of the football. Maybe, I talked about it in the other video, so subscribe now and check it out. Maybe that Garoppolo-Lance mix and match thrust the 49ers offense through the ceiling. Who knows? I do know, and I do remember that the 95 49ers had a ton of guys missing, including their starting quarterback, Steve Young. And they went into Dallas, and as Jesse Sapolo said, the media and everybody expected the 49ers to get executed against the Cowboys, who'd win the Super Bowl that year. But the 49ers came out and blew them out, thanks to Elvis Gerback, an explosive early offensive performance that rode off of some Dallas turnovers. So you got to play these games, and you have to wait to see who's actually available for these games before you go too far into panic mode or, to stray too far in the wrong direction. So, the Rams I think the Rams are going to run what they run and try to take advantage of the fact that the 49ers might not be at full strength. And, if the Rams start running stuff that they don't normally run, that might even play into the 49ers' favor. But again, we just don't know who's going to be available and who's not. All I can do is give you guys the update. And the update right now is the Wednesday update. And it's the Sunday update that's going to be the most important one. All right. Any more questions here? Breland is on the Cardinals practice squad, so the 49ers can theoretically poach him and sign him off the practice squad. I think we're just in a situation where the 49ers are waiting and seeing what's going to happen. But you might want to grab a guy sooner rather than later. I just lost a light in this conference room for the second time today. That's terrible. Thank God I have a ring light, but that's always my sign that it's time to end the video. Anyway, that's where the 49ers are right now. Everybody take care. Thanks for your questions. Subscribe to the show. We're going to have more content coming this week. I'm sorry I can't give you more information beyond this. These are the guys on the COVID list. This is the only guy available. Emmanuel Moseley's return might be huge. I think you can live with a Moseley-Norman starting outside cornerback duo and then just hope that one of your practice squad guys can take it the rest of the way at that slot cornerback position. You might be in trouble, but you might need your offense to score 40. But, hey, anytime you have a puncher's chance, I guess you'll take it, right? It's been a weird year, and it's not getting any more normal for the 49ers. Yes, the Rams did hack my light. My light just went on the COVID list too. All right, everybody take care. We'll talk to you soon. I got one more video, I think, coming today, maybe not. Anyway, watch all the other ones, and there'll be a ton of them. Yes, I'm about to go record the podcast right now, so be ready for the podcast. Take care, everybody.